evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Mitchell Ringos. The 40th annual Westfort Street Fair was a huge hit with locals today, so it was able to return to its roots after having to scale things back last year due to the pandemic. Frederica Street was packed with thousands of people from all over the city who came to take part in the one-day fair. There was something for everyone with a number of activities for kids, including bouncy castles, train rides, and a petting zoo. Various genres of live music were performed on stage throughout the day. There were over 70 vendors at the event and dozens of food stalls for locals to catch a bite to eat. The local businesses on Frederica opened up their doors as well and brought merchandise onto the sidewalk. Fair coordinator Mark Nowak says after the uncertainty of the pandemic, they're delighted by the amount of people who showed up.
This is fantastic. We're just really thrilled that the community's come out to support the vendors and the businesses in the area, and the turnout's phenomenal, and it's just great to see.
Nowak reassures everyone who wasn't able to come this year to look forward to next year's fair and says that they're hoping to make it even better. Thunder Bay's 6th annual Multiple Myeloma March was held at Marina Park today to help raise awareness for multiple myeloma, a little-known and incurable form of blood cancer. Over 20 residents came out to the park for the 5-kilometer walk, which is part of an annual nationwide event that has over 34 communities around the country participating. The group is hoping to reach the financial goal of $5,000, which will go into Myeloma Canada's national goal of $750,000. The funds raised will support scientific advancements and research that enables Canadians with myeloma to live longer, and that will hopefully lead to a cure. Michelle Oana, a representative from Myeloma Canada, says they're getting closer to finding a cure every year.
The research is advancing at such an incredible pace, it's actually really hard to keep up with it. So it's a really exciting time now for somebody who's been diagnosed versus 5, 10, 15 years ago where the outlook was very grim. Now more and more, each year new treatments are coming out, new research is coming out, and the future is looking really bright for patients.
If you would like to participate in the walk, donate, or know any more information, you can go online at myeloma.ca. In Fort Frances, Mayor June Cull is once again facing sanctions as a result of an Integrity Commissioner's report into her handling of confidential documents. Earlier this year, Cull apologized for providing those documents to a local resident who has used them in an attempt to make a case against Resolute's forestry license for the Crossroute Forest. On Thursday, a special council meeting was held to look into another investigation. In his remarks, Integrity Commissioner Paul Hain says Cull violated several sections of the Code of Council, the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act, and the Workplace Harassment Policy. Prior to Hain's report to Council, Mayor Cull was given the chance to speak to the situation. She says this was the 5th time an investigation of this nature has been held against her, which she says has taken its toll, especially with many attacks taking place in virtual settings.
Frankly, I'm fed up with the attacks that have been waged against me, even though no one has ever come and talked face-to-face about any of the issues they seem to have with me. Whatever happened to talking to someone in person about an issue you are concerned with? Whatever happened to being upfront instead of hiding in anonymity? I once again invite anyone to speak with me face-to-face about anything. I am not a cruel or nasty person, and I do not bite.
Council voted 5-2 in favor of receiving Hain's report and amended the motion to have Cull apologize once more, this time, however, in writing to staff members who were affected by her actions. Kiiwetinoong MPP Sol Mamakwa challenged the Ford government this week about allegations that the Ministry of Education is removing parts of the elementary curriculum which shows the links between Indigenous and Western science. Mamakwa spoke at Queen's Park and questioned Education Minister Stephen Lecce about the issue. Lecce responded saying his government has actually enhanced the science curriculum and will include mandatory truth and reconciliation learning in social science as early as grade 1. But Mamakwa pressed the issue further.
Matawa Council spokesperson Chief Wayne Munias stated that Ontario must stop regressing in their relationship with First Nations. Ontario should be working with First Nations educators to add Indigenous science to the curriculum, not remove it in secret.
Since the last curriculum update in 2007, Mr. Speaker, no government has taken the steps by comparison that we have to ensure a strengthened Indigenous learning opportunity. For far too long, many of us in this House, Mr. Speaker, learned about our history with words like colonization, war, and conquer. Today we're talking about reconciliation, Mr. Speaker, ensuring that our students come home and talk to their parents about some of the darkest chapters of our history, and at the same time ensuring Indigenous students across this province have a fair shot at a great education, Mr. Speaker, and a prosperous community to live in. Thank you.
A fun and educational exhibition is in town this weekend for families to experience. The Great Northern Ontario Roadshow, presented by Science North, is a free event that will help community members discover everything Northern Ontario has to offer. The two-day event has a number of activities and entertainment for all ages to enjoy, including science experiments and shows, games, and live music on the main stage. There's also a live insect display, and visitors will be able to learn more about and hold a number of live bugs. In addition, visitors will be able to support local vendors who will be showcasing their products and services around the festival area. Caitlin Richards, Senior Outreach Manager at Science North Thunder Bay, says the roadshow was created as a way to recover the economy and bring back local tourism.
The idea for the roadshow was to kind of combine and re-energize local tourism along with bringing this idea of science and bringing the community together, because after COVID there wasn't much going on and we wanted to really push for that.
The science and fun will continue tomorrow at the Marina Park Festival area from 10 in the morning until 4 p.m. Things are changing in Greenstone as a result of the development of the Greenstone mine. With that comes new businesses that are beginning to sprout in anticipation of this new era, including one that has put a focus on the sport of airsoft. Adam Riley has the details.
On a bright Saturday morning in a small wooded area west of Geraldton, customers of Tag Airsoft prepare for war, a BB war. This is the sport of airsoft, where individuals or teams of players shoot little plastic pellets at each other in a variety of game modes. Shane LaRose started the field 3 years ago and offered it up to friends who needed a place to play, but shifted it towards a business platform earlier this year after realizing the potential for new players coming to the area with the construction and startup of the new Greenstone mine.
I started airsoft about 7 years ago, and it reduced my stress, so I wanted to help reduce other people's stress. There's not much to do here in terms of outdoor activities other than fishing and hunting, which you have to organize on yourself. There's no real programs here. There's not a whole lot.
The player base of the field extends beyond the Greenstone area, with a variety of player experience levels from first-timer rookies to battle-hardened veterans who at times go to great lengths to look the part, including Nikolai Valente, who plays at the fields in the Thunder Bay area. He says a big draw for him is the sense of community and camaraderie the sport has, both on and off the field.
They'll show up for our games. It only makes sense for us to come here too. You sit down afterwards, you have some food and snacks, and you talk to each other, and you have just as good moments just sitting down wasting time after the game as you do in the middle of the game.
But as events ramp up and business grows, there's a bit of a dark cloud hovering around the airsoft community, which is a piece of federal legislation called C-21, a bill that, as LaRose and Valente says is currently worded, would make airsoft guns prohibited, and as a result would prevent new players from purchasing what they need to play, effectively putting LaRose and others in the industry out of business.
You know, there'll be diehards that continue to play with their airsoft guns that they're allowed to have, but imagine finding BBs and everything else become harder and more difficult as businesses close down. I try not to worry about it, but yes, 100% worried.
The way that everything was written was very vague, and it almost feels like it was made to be all-encompassing, and it feels somewhat like we're being thrown under the bus and just labeled as dangerous people over a hobby.
And in the meantime, while C-21 makes its way through Parliament, the players and LaRose are hopeful that they will be heard when it comes to consultation. But in the meantime, as one player put it today, they'll continue to gear up and sling BBs. Adam Riley, TBT News.
I'm glad Adam had all that gear on because that was a lot of BBs coming at him. But we move over to the family favorite Murillo Fair as it kicked off their festivities yesterday with many of the classic attractions that have made the event so successful in the past returning. The fair is running all weekend long with tickets available for $5 for adults, $4 for seniors, and $3 or $4 for children depending on their age. The three-day event will have plenty to do like the Canuck amusement rides, vendors, a carnival, and the addition of some favorites like the Tractor Rodeo and the Horse Ranch Rodeo, which are both taking place today and Sunday. The fair will also have live music from about noon until 9 at night, with different bands coming in to entertain. Fair President Sue Ellen Bleckenhorst says she's expecting a lot of people to stop by and see everything the fair has to offer.
A lot of people, even leading up to the fair, are just so glad that the fairgrounds is open again. There's horse events happening on the grounds every weekend up until I think it's the end of September. There's some kind of horse event happening.
Bleckenhorst says they are short on volunteers and is hoping more people will reach out to help run the event over the weekend. And for those who just want to check out all the Murillo Fair has to offer, it will be open today until 11 p.m. and on Sunday from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m.